Hello and welcome everyone into today's webinar event. So before we start, I just want to remind and ask everyone's help. If you have a friend or a classmate or anyone who has registered for this event and they are not in here yet, please remind them to join in the event as we will start right now. So hello and welcome everyone again into the Getting Ready for Work webinar. So before we start, allow me to just explain a little bit about the event today. So the event today is actually organized by some of the final year students of professional communications major as a part of our event management assignment. Thus, my group and I, as you can see, me, Vivian, Nita, Musa, as well as Danny, has decided to organize this webinar as we believe that it will be very beneficial to all, especially the final year students. So moving on with the webinar, have you ever wondered what are the steps or the etiquettes that you have to follow when applying for work, or how to ace a job interview, or what should you include in your resume? And not to mention how when you have successfully landed a job, there are certain challenges that we will face when adapting to work life because it is something very new to us, especially to those who have yet to have a working experience. Well, if you found yourself questioning or have wondering the questions above, well, then I guess this webinar is perfect for you. Now, before giving the talk, allow me to introduce our guest for today, who will be teaching us the 101s on how to apply and secure a job. Our guest today is a Bachelor of Education graduate from University Malaya, and she is currently the Managing Director at Fiat Enterprise. Before this, she has worked at Malaysia Airlines and was actually the caregiver during the MH370 crisis. She has conducted more than 300 interviews involving student entries, cabin crew, instructor, and many others from various different industries, but namely in education, aviation, and telecommunications. With that, I present Ms. Fairuz. Ms.
Excuse me, Ms. Fairuz, you're muted.
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that.
It's okay. Thank you for joining us today, Ms. Fairuz.
Okay, thank you again. Thank you to everyone for inviting me, for having me. And thank you, Humaira. May I call you Humaira?
Yes, yes.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for the lengthy introduction about me. None of the things that you said are untrue. They're all true. And I would like to congratulate all of you for organizing this event. And also, I would also like to wish all of you the best of luck in your future undertaking. And let's start with, do I need to, are you going to put on slides, or I will just start with my intro?
I think you can start with your intro.
Okay, right. Okay, as you have heard from Humaira, I have actually conducted more than 300 interviews, and my interviews were, I was with Malaysia Airlines, and I interviewed cabin crew and also fellow instructors because I was also teaching at Malaysia Airlines. And I also interviewed after I moved on from Malaysia Airlines, I joined Salcom, and I was the head of learning and development for Blue Cube, and I also had to interview my instructors who were supposed to be working in my department, and also some other slim trainees. Now they're called proteges. Okay, you know what slim trainees are, right? Slim or proteges, and they were recruited for Blue Cube as retail associates. And these are some of the people that I actually interviewed. And I'm not going to teach you anything. I'm going to share with you my experience. And I believe that when you want to start your work, you will actually do a lot of research or some research on what you'll be getting yourselves into. And I also believe that all of you can Google all the information, and you can get a whole lot of information there. However, my experience will be quite useful for you because this is actually like real experiences, and you may ask me questions later on how I actually conducted, on how I actually, what do you call that, assess my interviewees. Okay. I also went through interview sessions as an interviewee. So I also know the experience of, the feelings or the mixed emotions that you have before you actually go for an interview. Okay. So let's start with before your interview session, or way before your interview session, where you actually know what job you actually want to apply for. Okay. Now, when you have decided the job that you want to apply for, naturally you will do a bit of research on what the job is all about. Okay. For different companies, of course, the jobs will be different, but the baseline is all the same. And what you need to actually prepare yourselves first would be your resume or your curriculum vitae. And for most of you who probably do not have much experience or do not have any experience at all working, okay, your resume will be a pretty short one. So you can actually get those templates for resume in Google. And in your resume, it is very important for you to actually state, because you do not have much experience to write in your resume, please write on the activities that you have conducted, that you have participated in, and also your hobbies. Because for someone like me, I would be the hiring manager, and I would actually tell my HR personnel the criteria and the requirements on what I would be looking for in a candidate. Okay, so in your resume, I would suggest that you actually include the keywords for the job that you are actually applying for. So you can actually Google the job description and get the what do you call, the keywords. For example, if you're doing mass communication and you would like to get yourself into the group communications of a company, you probably would like to put in something like you have experience in, what do you guys do actually? Mass communication. um, Perhaps some digital work or artwork, something like that. Okay, but you're not going to say that you have a lot of experience in that, because we understand, as a hiring manager, I would understand that you're a fresh candidate, you're a fresh, you're fresh into this working world. So I would not be looking so much into that experience, because I do understand that you have little or probably zero experience in this. But my suggestion is to actually put some keywords in your resume for us to, because when you see, when your recruiter actually looks for a perfect or not, I wouldn't say a perfect resume, but an ideal resume, they would actually be keying in the keywords. And those keywords are the ones that will trigger them, okay, either via LinkedIn or job street, right? The keywords will actually be triggered, and they would actually say, what do you call that, shortlist your resume, and they would actually give the resume to me, and I will go through the resumes, and I will actually look at what you've done. And for fresh graduates, I will not be looking much at the experience, but I'll be looking at the activities that you've participated in, any voluntary work that you've done, and also the, what do you call that, your hobbies, because your hobbies actually will tell me what kind of people you are, what kind of people I'll be working with. Okay, so that's very important. So in your resume, make sure you put your profile picture that is professional, nothing that is, nothing that is like on your IG. Okay, nothing like that. Okay, very professional pictures, but make sure that with the passport photos that you have, make sure before you go and take your picture, put on some makeup for the ladies, okay, so that you look presentable, right? Okay, so that's one. And when you are doing your resume, please make sure that you check on your language. Now, we do not expect your language to be perfect, your English to be perfect, or your Bahasa to be perfect, but make sure you understand what you're writing, and get someone to actually vet through your resume. as well. Okay, get someone who has been working for quite some time to actually look at the resume to see whether it is presentable enough or not for us. I would assume that for your resume, it will only be like a page long. My resume is actually 7 pages long because I have like a more than 15 years experience working. Yeah, so I would actually include all my all the job that I've done, the skills that I have, and also the what you call it training programs that or training programs that when you work, your company will send you for certain types of training, skills training, that kind of training. Yeah. Okay. And what else can you include in your resume? Do not lie about your experience. Okay, because we can tell whether you lie or not, or you bluff in your resume. So do not include anything that is not something that you can do. Okay, because we will go through the resume and we will actually ask questions based on your resume. Yes. So that's for the resume. And let's move on to the part where you have actually prepared all the resume, and then you need to decide before you go for your interview. When you are called for an interview, you will need to know, definitely you will know what kind of job that you are applying for, right? So you will need to decide on the clothing that the clothes that you want to wear when you want to attend the interview. So clothing, this one plays a very, very important role, important part in your interview, because when you come into the what do you call that, the interview room, right? I would be, for me as a hiring manager, I would actually be assessing you head to toe, whether you like it or not. That's what we look at. Okay, so make sure that you wear something professional. Do not wear short skirts. Do not wear something that is you can wear skirts that are above your knees, but make sure they're not like at least they're not like 2 inches higher above your knees. Okay, be professional. Do not wear sandals. Wear covered shoes. Preferably wear court shoes. I do not know if you know what court shoes are. They're actually covered shoes. Yeah, court shoes, and wear a little bit of heels. Yeah, for the ladies. For the guys, make sure your shoes are polished. Make sure your shirt is tucked in. Make sure that you iron your clothes. And even though, say, if you apply for a job that is probably in the advertising agency, and most of the people there, the what do you call that, the office attire is actually like a casual attire. Okay, you do not attend the interview wearing something casual, even though the office attire is that you need to go for an interview wearing something that is professional looking. Okay, so make sure you find out, you do a bit of research on what kind of clothes that you want to wear. Okay, so that is very, very important. And also for the ladies, put on a little bit of makeup. Yeah, because we do not want to see you coming into the interview with no makeup on, because when you put on a little bit of makeup, you wear presentable clothes. It means to us that you actually put in some effort before you actually enter the interview room. Okay, so that tells us whether you put in any effort or not. Okay, so that's for the clothing. Now, so you've got your resume ready, and then you will need to actually prepare some certificates as well if you're required to do so. If you have any certificates with you, definitely you will need to what do you call it, email the HR personnel way before the interview session, whereby they will require you to actually email your resume, your documents, your IC, and then you will need to fill out some forms that the company actually needs, your details, your bank account, and etc. Right? So prepare those and email to them. You will need to follow the instructions given, but make sure if you do not understand, get someone to help you to see if you actually have got all the documents ready. Okay, and do the research about the job that you are applying for. Do some research on the company itself. You will not need to know everything about the company, but you need to know at least about what the company does. Okay, what is the main core of business of the company? So do research on that. That is very, very important. Okay, so now it's your time for you to attend the interview session. So you will go in 1 hour before the time, before your interview session. Okay, why I say you have to go 1 hour before is because it's natural when you attend any interviews, you will feel very nervous. You have all these mixed emotions, mixed feelings, and you would want to actually calm yourself down. You actually want to relax, and you will also need to fill out some forms also while waiting for the interview session to start. Okay, so go in 1 hour before. Make sure you time yourself right. Leave your house earlier, probably 2 hours before, because you do not want to get stuck in the traffic. Okay, once you get to the office, go and see the interview, the HR personnel who will be conducting, who will be, what do you call that, who will be helping you and assisting you, right? Give all the documents, sit down, relax, go to the loo, ease yourself first, all right? And then I wouldn't say, go through your notes and whatnot that you have before the interview session, because that will make you feel more nervous. Okay. What I normally do before I attend an interview session, I actually play games on my phone to actually relax, to feel more relaxed. Okay. Now, when you are called to enter the room, okay, that's when you're gonna feel more nervous. As you enter the room, when you enter the room, you will greet all the interviewers. It could be a panel of interviewers. There could be at least 1 or 2 people in the panel, sitting in the panel. Okay, greet them. Right now, I don't think you can shake hands with them anymore due to COVID, right? But greet each and everyone. Make sure you have eye contact with everybody. Before that, make sure you find out from, or when you get an email to attend the interview, right? Find out from the HR personnel who the interviewers are. Okay, find out who they are. You can actually Google them, and you can actually find out about them on LinkedIn, because normally we are all on LinkedIn. Okay, find out a little bit about their background. Okay, because that will actually help you a lot during the interview session. You will know the background that they have, the experience that they have, and also the education background that they have. Okay, so greet each and every one of them and ask them if you may take a seat. Don't sit down immediately when you're not invited to do so. Ask them, may I take a seat? Normally, we will actually tell you, okay, you can take a seat. Okay, when you are already seated, make sure your body posture is correct. You need to sit up straight. Do not slouch. If you need to cross your legs, you cross your legs, okay, gracefully. For the guys, of course, you don't cross your legs. And don't swing your chair, okay? Don't move, right? But just be relaxed. Don't do your hands like this, because then we know that you're nervous. But feeling nervous is understandable, okay? Especially for people who are actually very new at this. And okay, so what normally happens in the interview session is we will not ask you to introduce yourself to us. We will actually explain, we will ask you, we'll say, okay, Humaira, thank you for coming. So you have actually applied for this job. So, and we will explain what the company is, what the company does, and what the job is actually all about. So normally for a good 10 minutes, the interviewer will actually explain all that to you, what the job actually requires, right? And then only we will start the interview session, where we will ask you, okay, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Okay, and you will start talking about your background, where you're from, and where you graduated from, and what degree that you have. Okay, do not talk about how many siblings you have, because only if you're asked. Okay, normally for us, we would actually, if we see that you are nervous, we would start asking about your family to make you feel at ease. Okay, so I will actually assess you on that. I do not know about other interviewers, but I am I try to make the candidate feel less nervous. But but let me tell you, there are other interviewers who will make you feel very intimidated. There are other interviewers who are like that. Okay, so be prepared for those kind of interviewers. Okay, and attending an interview is actually a skill. The more interviews you attend, the better you become at it. Okay, so don't feel that, oh my god, this is my first time interviewing and I do not know much. Just be yourself. You do not have to pretend to be someone else. Be yourself, because we can tell when you are trying to be someone else. You're not trying to be yourself. Okay, so during the interview, right, will be when after you have actually introduced yourselves, you have explained to us what you can do, we will actually ask you about something that we spot in your resume. For example, tell us a little bit about your hobby. Okay, and perhaps, okay, I tell you, I was actually I'm very good at pool. So back then, when I was much younger. So when I first started my job, the interviewer asked me what are my hobbies. So I told them that I actually love playing pool, and I told them about my accomplishment where I actually won like first runner up for the interview, for the what do you call that, pool tournament. And then, you can see the body language from the interviewers. We become more relaxed. We will chat with you. Instead of interviewing you, you would want to steer the interviewers into chatting with you. So that is very important, because you do not want the interview session to be too formal. Normally, nowadays, the interview sessions are not formal like before. It used to be very, very formal, but now it's more like a chatting session where we actually we would like to learn more about you, getting to know you. Okay. Now, if you're asked about the job that you're applying for, do not say that I know this, I know that, I am good at this. Try to use words like, I try to be good at this, I try to be good at that, I try to learn about this. And when the interviewer tells you about the company, you respond by saying, yes, I did read a little bit about the company, and I did read about what you have done, and about the what do you call that, CSR event that you conducted. So you respond to what the interviewer tells you. Okay, so that for you, normally there will not be a lot of questions asked. Normally, we just want to get to know you. We just want to get to know what kind of people you are. We just want to see whether you are bubbly, whether you are right for the job. For example, if I am interviewing a protege who is applying for a job as a retail associate in Blue Cube. Now, for a retail associate in Blue Cube, I require you to be bubbly. I require you to be proactive. I require you to be someone who can sell, because you are required to sell products in Blue Cube, right? So I would want to see how you speak. I want to see that you're not a timid person. So if you're a timid person, if I ask you one question and you answer me with a one-liner, I may not shortlist you. Okay, because I do not have time to actually train you to have all those skills. I would expect you to have a minimal skill of the requirements for the job. Okay, and let me tell you of one experience that I had with one protege who wanted to apply as a retail associate. She actually wanted to apply as a management trainee with the company. And she used to study in New Zealand. She lived there for many years. And when she came into the interview, she said that the job was not what she actually wanted. So that is like a no-no for us. When you say that that's not the job that you actually want, it means that, oh, okay, you're just here, because you got nothing else, nothing better to do, and you need a job. So that's what you're applying for this particular job. And when she started saying all those things, immediately we were already put off. And she was and we asked her, you do know that this job is for this and that. We do not expect you to have a lot of experience in dealing with people, but we expect you to actually know how to deal with people, right? And she mentioned to us that she actually wanted to be in management training, but she was not successful at applying for that. So this was the best thing that she could do, and she thought that by getting into this position, she could move into management training in the company. This was actually at Salcom. And she was also not, sorry to say this, but she was also not presentable. Yeah, because she did not wear proper attire. She did not look presentable. Her hair was messy, and she's a little bit tomboyish. So I asked her, okay, would you be okay? Would you be comfortable if we asked you to actually put on some makeup? Because it's actually part of the requirement as a retail associate, because you'll be dealing with people, right? So I asked her, would you be comfortable to actually put on a little bit of makeup and to actually groom yourself before you actually, if you are accepted, before you get the job? And she was not too happy about it. And however, we still took her in simply because she speaks well and she's actually a smart girl. She's like a 3.8 pointer CGPA girl. Yeah. So we actually decided to bring her in because we couldn't find other candidates who could speak like her. So she got in, but because I made her promise to actually, I told her, okay, if I give you this job, can you promise me that you would do something about your grooming, that you would actually do a little bit of research on how to put on makeup? She promised me that she would do that. And before she left the interview, I actually made her promise me again that she would be looking into that, so that when she came in, she would be like half ready. Because yes, definitely before you start a job, we'll send you for probably like a short what do you call that, training session, maybe like a 1 week or 2 weeks training session for you to actually learn about the skills, about the things that you actually need to do. Okay, but when she came in, she was still the same person like how when we interviewed her. So I was actually very disappointed. And when she saw me, she didn't even acknowledge me when she knew that I was the one who interviewed her. So it's easier for you to remember your interviewers rather than your interviewers remembering you, right? Because we interview hundreds of people at one time, where you are only interviewed by probably 1 to 3 people. Okay. So so from there onwards, she never really had like a good what do you call that? Never gave me a good impression. But she managed to move on into another job which she wanted. So being a retail associate was not what she wanted, but she used that as a platform for her to actually move into what do you call that? Another line in the company. Okay, so do not promise. What I'm trying to say here is that do not promise your interviewers what you can't deliver. Okay, because it will not, when you are in the company and I start talking about you to other bosses, right, it will not look good on you. Okay, so just say that you will try to actually do what you promised us that you will do. Okay, you will try your very best. Don't promise me like I will do it, I'll make sure that I'll do it. Okay, so that's one tip for you. And during the interview session as well, we will be asking you about, I'll probably give you a situation whereby, say if you are going to apply under group communications, where you'll be asked to actually produce an article, right? Because under group comms, you'll be serving your internal, what do you call that? Customers and also external customers. When I talk about internal customers and external customers, internal customers being your fellow employees in the company. So they are actually called internal customers. External customers are customers whom we serve outside of the company. So in Celcom, for example, they are your customers who purchase your items, your products. Internal will be people who you will be dealing with. So under group comms, right, you will have to actually send out memos, send out like any news that need to be need to be told to the entire community of Celcom. So when you are asked to actually, I will not ask you to produce an article right then, but I will ask you, what do you have any experience in writing an article? So if you do have, say, yes, I have a little bit of experience in that. Don't say that, oh yes, I have a lot of experience in writing articles. I've written many articles. Don't say that, because then you will need to prove yourself to us. And if you do not write good articles, then we'll just say, okay, because when you join, right, you actually have, you will be on a probation period, 3 months or maybe 6 months, and we probably will not make you permanent. So you will go through a probationary period for a duration of time. Okay, so be honest. Don't say that, yes, I'm good at this, I'm good at that, I can write this, I can write that. Okay, say, yes, I can write a little bit. I have written when I was at the uni. I have written for my faculty. I have written to newspapers. Okay, and if you have, so be proud of it, but don't be too proud of it. Okay, so that's during the interview session. And during the interview session as well, we will ask you, what do you have any questions for us? Do not ask about how much the salary is, because that's not for the hiring manager to actually tell you how much your salary will be. That is actually between you and the company. But we will be able to tell you maybe very basic details or information about the company, where maybe you can ask about, what are the working hours? How many days a week do I have to work? Is it a 5-day job, or is it a 5.5-day job? And is it going to be, what you call that? You can ask questions like, is it going to be a permanent or a contract basis job? Where a permanent means that you'll be with the company for a long time, provided that you go through your probationary period. Okay, contract, whereby a contract is actually a job where your contract will be renewed every year or every 2 years, depending on whether the company still needs you, or the progress that you have made throughout being in the company. Okay, so you can ask that kind of question, whether it's a contract basis or a permanent job, right? And you can ask about, so that's one, you can ask about your working hours. Okay, do not ask again about the salary. And you can also ask them, how soon, if you are a successful candidate, how many interview sessions will you need to actually go through before you actually get accepted into the company? So normally for fresh graduates like you will only need to attend one interview session, because your job skills are actually pretty much limited. And if you're still at the, what do you call that, when you enter, right, you'll be at the, probably at the executive level. But if you are an assistant manager, or you are applying for a managerial level, right, so the requirements will be more, so you will have to actually go through a minimum of 2 interview sessions. Okay, however, do ask the interviewers how many sessions of interview that you will need to attend before you actually get accepted. Okay, all right. So whilst talking to the interviewers, make sure you talk to each and every one of them, the panel of the interviewers. Do not look at only one person, look at a few people. And make sure you are aware of your body posture. Okay, that is very, very important. To me, I actually look at your body posture. If you slouch and you, what do you call that? You move around, you move your chair, you swing your chair. So that does not say, that does not tell me good things about you. Okay. If you're nervous, we can tell. Okay. Because we've conducted like many interviews, so we can tell. So like I said, if it was me as the hiring manager, I would actually try to make the interviewee feel at ease. Okay. So that is during the interview session. So you know about what clothes that you need to wear, how you're going to greet your interviewers, and what you need to say to them. But before you say anything to them, they will actually talk about the company and they will explain about the job. And then they will ask you to explain a little bit about yourself. And then they will get into your resume, into the things or the skills or the experience that you have. Explain a little bit about that. And then they were at the, so you're actually nearing towards the end of the interview session, where your interviews will ask you, do you have any more questions for us? And then you say, at the moment I do not have any, and but I would like you to give me a chance to be part of the company where I believe that I can contribute and I can also learn a lot from the company. So you will say something like that to assure us that you are the candidate, the right candidate that we are actually looking for. Okay, so that means that you actually have a very positive attitude and you bring in good vibes to the company. Okay. So that's at the towards the end of the interview session. How many minutes do I have left?
You can go on. We still have around, I would say, 20 minutes if you want to
Okay.
go on. So
All right.
we're
Okay.
good.
So when you, before you leave the interview session, right? Before you leave the room, shake hands with them if you're allowed to. But due to COVID, I think you are not allowed to anymore, right? And thank them for this session and tell them that you look forward to seeing them again. You look forward to hearing from them. And so you leave the interview room and go and see the HR personnel, okay, and ask if there is anything else that you need to provide, or when will you be expecting calls from them, because you would want to actually know, okay, like how long do I need to wait before the before I get the what do you call that, the reply from the company. And the next day, make sure you write to the HR personnel thanking them for inviting you for the interview session. Okay, so that is like right away after your interview session. You do not have to write immediately. You can write like the next day, but within a week, check in with the HR personnel, email them or call them to find out if they have actually come up with the decision whether you are hired or not. And if you do not hear from them within a week, then you can check on them again the following week. Now, I suggest that you do not write to them on Mondays and on Fridays, because on Mondays, normally what we do is we try to clear out our emails. Okay, and on Friday is like, the weekend is coming, so we will not really be reading the emails thoroughly. Okay, so check on them midweek, like perhaps maybe on Wednesday. Okay, Wednesday or Thursday, because if you write to them on Wednesday or Thursday, perhaps you'll get the reply back from them on Friday. Okay, so that's with the end of the interview or after the interview. Okay, I think I've actually covered your interview, what do you call that, the interview parts, where first you talk about, or you need to do a research about the job that you're applying for. Okay, now it doesn't matter if you are a graduate in mass communication, right? You can apply for other jobs as well. Don't ask like don't say like, oh, I am actually a mass comm graduate, but I want to apply for a job in the customer experience division. Because we know that if we are asking for people to come in for interviews, right, we would know what kind of skills that we will be looking for in the candidate. Okay, so don't think that just because you are a mass comm major, you cannot work in other divisions, because you may not be doing mass comm throughout your life, because you might deviate, or you might switch or move into a different job profile altogether. Okay, so before your interview, get your resume ready, get your photo ready, make sure you know what clothes you want to wear, find out about the company, find out about the job. Okay, find out also about your interviewers. Normally, your HR personnel will include the names of the interviewers in the email, because because I will actually know when the interview session will take place, what time it will take place at. Okay, so find out about them, and also during before the interview, make sure you get yourselves prepared, get yourselves ready, go leave your house earlier, okay, and make sure you are at the interview place venue before 1 hour before, and try to like fusa, relax yourselves, okay. And then as you enter the interview session, make sure you greet everyone, and make sure that you ask if you could be seated, and also greet all your interviewers, and then thank them for having you, okay. And then the interview will start. The interviewers will actually tell you about the company, they will tell you about the job, and then they will start asking about you, right? And when they start asking about you, you tell a little bit about yourselves, and then we will get into the kind of job that we expect you to do, and we will ask you, okay, what can you actually bring to the table, okay, for the company. And then the interviewers will ask you, okay, what do you have any questions for us? So the kind of questions that you will be asking them, like I said, do not ask about how much the salary is, but you can ask about whether the job is a permanent job or a contract basis job, and then about your working hours, right? About the clothes attire, you can ask the HR personnel, okay? And ask them when you can actually hear from them, and then you thank them, and you leave the interview session, okay. If you and then right after that, email the HR personnel the day after to thank them for allowing you to have the opportunity for the interview, and then follow up with them on the decision, the deliberation by the panel. And if you do not hear from them, email them again the following week. Do not email them like twice in a week, because then you'll be like bugging the HR personnel, okay. And okay, if you ace the interview, then congratulations. If you do not ace the interview, do not feel deterred by the rejection, because it is not a rejection. It is actually not meant to be for you, right? The job is not meant to be for you. They have found other candidates that probably you are better at doing other things, okay. But keep on applying to attend interviews, because attending an interview is a skill. It is a skill. Like I said, the more you attend, the better you become at it, right? Okay, I think I've covered most of it. Some tips that I would like to share with you for the interview is that it's okay to laugh, okay? You don't have to be like all serious about it, right? It's okay to laugh, and it's okay to ask questions to the interviewers. Not personal questions, but it's okay to ask questions about what they do. About you can ask more in depth about what the job is actually about. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. And my tips for you is actually to just be relaxed, be yourselves. Don't have to be other people, right? But make sure the first perception that we get from you is the positive perception or impression, because the first impression is the lasting impression. Because when you walk into the interview room, right, I would actually have made like 8 to 12 assumptions about you. So that is like the most important part or crucial part in an interview session. Okay, so I would have actually like really in 8 seconds, in 5 seconds actually, I would actually have made between 8 to 12 assumptions about you. Okay, you may practice before you start an interview session. You may get someone to actually be the interviewer, and you can, you know, practice speaking to the person. What else? I think that will be all. I would like to share with you my experience interviewing like hundreds of people. Okay, I've interviewed people who want to become cabin crew, okay, with Malaysia Airlines, and a lot of them are, of course, before they actually attend the interview, right? Because they know you want to become a cabin crew, you need to look like this, like that. So, and they will need to speak well. It doesn't matter if you're, you know, you don't have, you know, perfect English or perfect bahasa, but at least you are able to speak. And of course, do not use the wrong words. I share with you one experience which I had with one candidate who said that the father, oh no, the mother is a housewife. So when I hear a candidate telling me that the mother is a housewife, because we asked the candidate, okay, what do your parents do? My mother is a housewife. So the interviewers will be like giggling inside, like, oh, your mother is a housewife. And we will be thinking like, your father is a horse? Right? So make sure you get the right words. You just make sure that your pronunciation is correct. Okay? And something like that. Okay? Okay, any other, would you like me to elaborate more? Any other questions? It doesn't have to be a Q&A yet, but you may want me to elaborate on other things.
I thank you very much, Ms Fairuz. Those were really great tips that can be utilized by all of us, especially final year students that are about to do our internship program this year. And thank you for the informative talk. But yeah, now I bet there are some questions in mind by the audience. So we will open the floor for a Q&A session. Audience who have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat box. But Ms. Fairuz recommends us to directly turn on our mics and just speak to her one-to-one. And hopefully she will answer everyone's questions. And
as an interview session.
Correct. Yeah. So while waiting for all the questions, we shall have a short break. Then we go through the answers one by one.
The questions.
Yep.
The questions one by
one. We'll go through it together.
Okay. Do we only have 5 people here or?
No, actually, fortunately, we have about 29 participants. Yep.
Okay, because I can't see on my screen. All right, that's good. Okay, so we'll have a short break for how many minutes?
All right, I'd say we have 5 minutes or 4 to 5 minutes.
Okay, all right.
And then we'll go through the questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there. Who's speaking there?
Sinta here.
Hi, Jacinta. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay,
All
I
right.
just want to ask a question to the first to the madam. Hello. Okay.
Um, I think Ms Fairuz is having a break for a short while.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Back. Are we starting already?
Hi, Ms Fairuz.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm starting already.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So we have a question from Jacinta first. All right, Jacinta, you can shoot your question here.
Okay. Hi, madam. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Sinta, right?
Yasinta.
Hi, Sinta.
Okay. I have a friend who went to many interviews.
Mm-hmm.
He told me that nobody asked about the pointer. So the pointer is important here in the interview or not?
What do you mean by pointer?
The CGPA,
Oh, the CGPA.
Yes, yes.
We do not ask about your pointers, but we will be looking at your pointers in your resume. And from there, we will be able to tell whether the pointers don't really tell us much. I mean, because you can be a studious person, right? But it doesn't mean that if you're good at if you're good academically, it doesn't mean that you can do the job. Okay, but the pointers actually help as well. But we will be looking at the pointers on your resume, because say if you are applying to become a retail associate, for example, or a cabin crew. As a cabin crew, of course, you will be we do not require you to have a degree, perhaps a diploma. But even if you have a diploma, right, we will not take you in if you're below 3. Okay, but for a degree holder, say you are applying for a job as an executive, I will not take you in if your pointer is below 3, because there is actually a minimum requirement given by the company, not given by me. Yeah, given by the company, because they would need to have like a baseline for those who come in.
So it's like a below 3 pointer means it's like it's a problem, right?
No, it's not. No, never say that it's a problem. It is not a problem, but it really depends on the kind of job that you are actually applying for.
Oh,
Yeah, it's not a problem. But
okay.
but normally, before you actually before you are actually called to attend an interview, the HR personnel would actually be looking at your pointers, at your certificate, right? And they would actually sift through the applications before you are actually called. So we will not ask you during the interview about your CGPA. However, if you are a high flyer, say you are a second upper student, right, or graduate, we can be impressed by it, and perhaps we will ask you more about what you actually did during your uni days. But we will not normally ask you that. Yeah.
Okay. And one more question, madam.
Yes, sure.
Always confused. Not it's not a confuse. I don't know how to express the feeling of the strength and weakness. So how we start with the word of the strength and weakness for answer for that questions?
Okay, that's actually a very good question, because some interviewers will actually ask you, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? Now, if they ask you about what your strengths are, say Jacinta, are you a mass student?
Yes, I'm a mass comm student.
Or a mass student. So, okay, let me ask you, what would your strengths be?
So I'm good in editing.
You're good at editing. Okay, what else?
I don't know if like hobbies means I good in dancing, acting, directions, and
Okay,
something like
fine.
that.
So if you are good at editing, so you just say that your strength is at editing. You are good at that. That you are able to do a few things which you have self-taught yourself, or you learn while during your uni days. Okay, and you can also talk about your hobbies. That can be your strength as well. Let's say that you're a good futsal player, for example. So that can be a strength too, because it means that to me you are a very active person, that
Oh,
you work well in a team. So
oh.
yes, so if you want to talk about your strength in sports, that shows
Mm-hmm.
to the interviewer that you're a sports person. To become a sports person, you will need to work well in your team. So that tells me that you can work with other people. So
Okay.
so Yasinta, so if you talk about your strength in sports, say that why you believe that that is your strength, because you can work in a team.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now weaknesses, do not say my weakness is I um cannot wake up on time, for example. Okay, say that I do I don't believe in weaknesses, but I believe in other points about me that I can work on.
Oh, okay. So it's like the term of the word is work on, isn't it?
So you try to steer the attention from the word weakness. So you use
Mm-hmm.
different words like, it is not a weakness to me, but it's something that I can improve myself in, or I can work on. So the choice of words that you use is very important.
Okay, madam. So more than the skills, can we tell our strength and weakness about our characteristic? Like I'm so organized. So can I tell the strength is my I'm an organized person or something like that?
Yes, you can, but you will have to elaborate why you say that that one is your strength. If you're an organized person, how has that become? How is that your strength?
Oh, so I have a reason. Yeah, I have to tell the reason, isn't it?
Uh, Not a reason, but explain.
Oh, explain.
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
explain. So let's say you say that you are, my strength is I am actually a very organized person, whereby when I actually conducted an event, I make sure that the event has got the plan, the right planning, the right timing, and I would make what do you call that? Meetings with my other fellow members in the team. So you explain why
Okay,
that one is your strength.
okay, madam. So last question. I'm so sorry if
No
I
problem.
So last question is, okay, when we go to the interview, they will ask us, the first question they ask is, tell me about you or something like that. Tell
Mm-hmm.
about you and everything. So in resume, we already told that our name and then what our skills, what the language and everything. So when they ask me, tell me about you, so it's already in a resume. So what kind of thing I can tell more than the resume? How to start the conversation?
Okay, so normally before you come into the interview session, right, into the
Mhm.
interview room, we would have your resume in front of us, and we will actually go through very quickly
Mhm.
about your details. Okay, and you will tell us about already. Yes, definitely. If you talk about what you already have put on your resume, right, you feel that it's like a repetition, that we have already read it, but we also want to see how you actually communicate with us, because what
Oh,
you write is different from how you speak.
okay, okay, I understand that. Uh,
Okay.
okay, so communication is the important thing, isn't it? When we come to the interview, how
Yes.
we behave, how we communicate, and everything.
Yes, because
If,
communication is not just about speaking, it's about your body language as well.
okay, when they ask related about the work, if we don't know the answer or we don't know how to describe, So how we can phrase the don't know word to
Okay. Okay. So for me as a hiring manager, if I know that I will be interviewing proteges, okay, and proteges normally do not have any work experience, okay, but maybe you have little experience from what you've written in your resume. So if we ask you, I will not ask you like, can you do accounting? Can you do back end work? I will not ask you things like that. I will only be asking you, for example, will you be able, how comfortable are you at
Mhm,
meeting people? Because if you're in mass comm, you will have to, if you work with group communication
mhm.
of a company, right? So you would need to meet a lot of people from various departments. So I will be asking you, how comfortable are you at meeting people? How comfortable are you at writing? So I'll be asking questions like that.
Oh, it's not related about the terms and everything, isn't it?
No, no. I will not be giving you a situation where because you've not because you do not know anything about the job.
Yes,
It will be
yes.
unfair for me to actually ask you about the job itself. But I will be asking you something that is related to the job. Like I
Mm-hmm,
mentioned,
mm-hmm.
if you are in group comms, you will be required to meet a lot of people. You'll be required to actually organize events. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be asking you something like that. Have you actually conducted or done any events previously? Um, and if you have, can you elaborate on what you did, what you accomplished? Something like that.
Okay, madam. Thank you so much for your answers, madam.
You're welcome. Yasinta, I hope I've answered your questions.
Yeah, it's very really helpful for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you to Ms. Fairuz and to Yasinta. I hope that answers your questions. And unfortunately, we are running out of time here. So we have one more question from the floor, which is from Shamil, our friend here. And maybe Ms. Fairuz, you can answer in point form since we have a limited amount of time.
In point.
Okay, so the question is, if I had to send a video resume, what do I have to do to make it stand out?
Oh,
Video resume.
oh, okay. This one you can actually search about this on YouTube and try to make it as interesting as you can, but don't make it too casual, but make it fun and informative. So when you actually present yourself, then you have some wordings by the side, right, to actually explain. So it's like infographic, something like that. Okay, but make it fun, make it creative as you can. And I believe all of you are mass comm students. I'm sure you all are creative. Yeah. So just make it fun, but yet informative for us. When we watch your video, we say like, this guy or this boy will be like fun to work with, and he may be the kind of person that we want to actually work with.
Thank you, Ms. Fairuz. And to Shamil, hope that answers your question. And from the floor, I personally would like to represent all of the participants here, which I have one question because us as com students, we had to do this in our first year, which was we had an assignment which we had to like attend a fake interview with our lecturer. So our lecturer will become our interviewer, and so yes, we were trained for intimidating moments and so on. So I I I got my lecturer asked me this one question which I couldn't answer, and I cannot think of any other answer until now. So the question is, after the interview, the interviewer asked me, okay, so as you all know, we have many people that are applying for this job, and so the question was, why should we hire you? That was the question, and I didn't know what to answer because, like, I cannot say that I'm better than anyone else, right? So maybe you can help us with that.
Okay, I normally wouldn't ask that kind of question because because for me it's really not a fair question to be asked. Okay, and as an interviewer, we will need to learn skills as well on how we should be conducting an interview. Okay, it's actually a no. Back then, people used to ask that kind of question, but nowadays we don't ask. Like I said, the interview sessions now are more relaxed. It's more like a chatting session, getting to know you rather than interviewing something that you've not gone into the job. How would you be able to know what you can do, right? So if you are asked that kind of question, you will say, I do not know about other candidates. Okay, I do not know about what other candidates have to offer, but this is what I have to offer. Okay, I will try to work on the skills that I lack in and try to improve myself. I know that perhaps it's something like a cliche that you've heard many times during all the interview sessions, but I can assure you that I am a determined person, that even if I do not know a certain skill, I will be looking into it and I will try to learn about it. Because to me, it's more about learning. So you try to answer something like that. So don't say that, oh, so sorry about that. It's going to rain. Don't say that, I do not know, I will get back to you. Don't say that you do not know. Because if you say that you do not know, that means that you will not put in any effort at all to actually answer the question. So say that, I do not know about other candidates, but as for me, this is what I can offer you because I will try my best to learn about something. Okay?
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Fairuz. I do have one more question since we have about approximately 10 minutes more left. And I think this is a kind of a general question that should be answered because most students are so concerned of it, which are our pointers, our CGPAs. So yes, students are so afraid of getting low pointers and so on. So I just have this question in mind where do interviewers hire or choose or shortlist candidates that have lower CGPA than the other candidate, and why?
Do interviewers hire those with lower CGPAs?
Yeah, do you guys shortlist like some candidates that have lower CGPAs than other candidates because for a particular reason or something?
Yes. Well, actually, that depends on the HR department itself because we only give certain requirements or criteria or the prerequisites on what the students actually need or the candidates actually need for the kind of job that they are applying for. When we talk about CGPA, that would actually be determined by the company itself, where they actually set like a standard on for executive level, for example, the candidates will need to be between what CGPA to what CGPA, your pointers. Okay, so I can't comment much on that because that really depends on what the company actually wants, how the company actually wants to be perceived as, or want to be how they want to be looked at as a company that is of a higher standard, for example. Okay, but when they give us the HR department would actually have already saved the applications, right? And then they would shortlist probably maybe around 20 applications, for example. And I will go through the applications and definitely I will be looking at your CGPA. But if your pointer is lower from a different, from another applicant, right? Is much lower from another applicant, I will be looking at, okay, why were you chosen? Why were you shortlisted for the interview? So perhaps is your experience that you have that other candidates do not have. So it's not so much of the pointers, whether your pointers are low or not. Okay, I'll be looking at your I know you'll be like you feel that you will need to compete with people who have got higher pointers, right? But if you are actually shortlisted, there must be a reason why that the HR people actually shortlist you. Okay, so like I said, if you are applying to get into group communication, perhaps in your resume, there is an experience that you have already put in, like you have done some editing, you have done some events and whatnot, where someone with a higher pointer, someone with a 3.4, and you are a 3.0, right? But that 3.4 person does not have experience. I would go for someone with experience. Okay, because like I said, academic does not say much about what you can do. That only tells me how much you have memorized in your exam or your assignments, but that does not tell me about your skills.
I see.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that explains it. Understood. Thank you so much, Ms. Fairuz. Okay, so we have approximately 5 minutes left, and maybe we can open the question to one more person, and we can get the question and answer done within 5 minutes. All right, so we have it from Vivian. Please carry on.
Hi,
Hi,
Vivian.
Miss. My name is Vivian.
Hi,
So my
Vivian.
question would be, how about if we suddenly in our career journey have a career switch, and then what happens to our resume, and like how do we? What would your advice be on that matter?
So your question is, if you have a career switch, how would you actually put that into your resume?
Right, like incorporate all of that into the resume, so it doesn't look messy or whatever.
So what you have in your resume now, say you're a fresh graduate, you've never worked before, right? So you will not put, there will be like an experience column where you'll be putting in all the experience that you have working in various positions or different companies. So in your resume, you will put in the latest experience that you have. The latest experience that you have. So say you have had 2 jobs in 2 different companies. Okay. Let's talk about 2 years ago, you were with Malaysia Airlines, and then last year you were with Celcom. You would put in your latest experience first. So you put in Celcom on top, and then you will put in Malaysia Airlines as the one after Celcom. So your latest experience will be the top one. Then it will follow suit with the oldest experience that you have. Okay. So in your experience, you want to write. You can actually put in your experience based on when you start a job, they will give you a job description. It's what we call a JD, job description. So the job description will actually tell you what will be needed, what you will need to do as part of your job. Okay. And you can actually copy paste that. HR will actually give you the job description. Oh, don't forget to actually ask for the job description before you go for the interview. When they invite you for the interview, ask them to furnish you with a job description, or in short forms, JD. Okay, so you can include those in your resume, right? So first experience, your latest experience, Celcom. Job description as a customer service experience personnel. Okay, so list down accordingly to what the job description is, but include, for example, you are required to attend to customers. No, your JD will be something like, it will be something like attending to customers regarding the products by Celcom. Then you will just explain a little bit about you having assisted perhaps more than 500 customers whilst working in that duration of time. So you have your JD, okay, but you just explain a little bit, because JD is general. Okay, it's something that you can actually plug from Google or something like that, right? And we can put in. But what is it that you did in that company that tells me about how do you connect your experience with that job description that we have? Okay.
Okay, we've got it. Thank you. That will be from me.
Okay.
All right. So thank you, Ms. Fairuz, and to Vivian. Hope that answers your question. Okay. So we have one more question here. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's open the floor to Nita Shni. Maybe she has one question, and hopefully we have it short. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, hello, madam.
Hi,
Hello. My question is: this is before the interviews. Imagine that we have sent in our resumes to many companies, and we already got a job, but we want to respectfully decline an interview. So how do you do that?
Okay, you want to decline an interview, so you write to them that you say thank you to them for the opportunity given. However, you have decided to take on another job as this was something that you actually not what you wanted to do, because you actually applied for that company, right? Then you
Yeah.
say that, oh, now you don't want to apply. When you wanted to apply with me, you said you wanted this job. So now you're saying that you don't want this job anymore. So thank you for the opportunity. However, I have already committed myself to working with this with another company. Do not mention the company that you're actually currently working for. I have already committed myself to working with this company. However, if there is an opportunity in the future, I would still love to be part of your organization. And I hope that we will cross paths in the future. Okay. Thank you once again. That's it. Very short and simple one.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. How come I do not have like Muslim students asking fasting, is it?
Just now we did from Shamil.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's Ramadan. Maybe everyone's tired and sleepy right now. All right. Okay. Thank you, Ms Fairuz, for the astonishing response to the audience's question there, and I hope everyone got their questions answered. Now, I believe that we have come to the end of our event, so I will pass the floor over to Nita, our host for the closing ceremony. But before that, I know that some of you guys want to watch back this recording of our session here because it's a really beneficial talk for us, especially students. And we will update you on the Instagram page, and maybe we could post the recording on YouTube or something. But stay tuned, okay, guys? Thank you. I'll pass the floor to Nita.
All right, thank you, Danny. First of all, on behalf of my group, we would like to thank Ms Fairuz for the session today. It is much appreciated, and I believe all of us who attend the webinar learned something new, and we'll be sure to keep in mind all the lessons taught. Now we're moving on. We ask everyone to please turn on their cameras if possible for a short photo session. We will go page by page. So everyone, please be ready.
This is the COVID era where you have a photo session online.
Okay, Musa, are you ready?
Musa, I think you need to unmute yourself.
Sorry, guys.
It's
Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile. Nice.
Make sure you edit my photo, okay?
Yes.
Okay, so did we get everybody? Okay. So with that, I will end this webinar. Thank you to Ms. Fairuz again and to everyone attending, and best of luck for your job hunt. Thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you everyone for having me, and I wish all of you the best. Best of luck in applying for jobs, in acing the jobs, and do not feel deterred if you do not get accepted. Okay, so it's always a learning session. Every interview session is always a learning session for you. All right, a learning experience for you. And yes, you can Google about what interviews are all about, but find out from other people as well, from your friends, from your colleagues, from your parents, on how you can ace the interview. Okay, because you can learn from Google, but it's not the same as having real life experience, talking to people about their skills, about what they have experienced. Okay, so all the best of luck to all of you, and congratulations on having conducted this session. It was a success, I believe, for all of you, for the team members.
Yes, I would say it's a success.
Okay, congratulations to the team members.
Thank you. And thank you again for joining our webinar today, Ms. Fairuz. We appreciate it so much. Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Fairuz. We hope that you can become our lecturer maybe next year or next 2 years, because I think this kind of information is what students really need in our education system, where we need to know all this before we work. I'm
It's
just
true.
kidding, Fairuz. Thank you so much.
I stopped teaching like many years ago. Okay, thank you guys.
Have a
Thank
nice
you.
day.
Okay,
And
you
selamat berbuka to you, Ms.
okay,
Fairuz.
everyone. Thank you, everyone.